My name is Alicja Czyczel. I am a choreographer and dancer based in Warsaw, in Poland, in Europe. I participated in the remote residency of Aomori Contemporary Art Centre, ACAC, during winter 2020. What was my motivation to apply for the residency, especially when international travel was restricted or limited? I applied for ACAC residency before the pandemic. My intention was to develop site-specific, collaborative artistic research and to guide workshops with the Aomori community in green areas and indoor. ACAC seemed a suitable institution for this kind of approach because it is situated in a very unique environment and has a strong mission to be in dialogue with habitants. These were important factors to consider that my work, which relies on creating sustainable relations with humans and non-humans, will have good conditions to grow. My motivation to join the remote residency was obviously different than my initial one. I had to reshape my proposal and invent a new online format which would support exchange, dialogue, and discovery of local biodiversity of Aomori. It was a challenge, an artistic experiment, because I have never worked remotely before. The research took place online and lasted few weeks. At the beginning, it was hard to imagine how to travel to Aomori only with my imagination. The distance between Aomori and Warsaw is considerably big. Email exchanges with the curator Murakami Aya was a big help and a missing link between two time zones. The challenge was to reformulate my initial interest from live encounters with the landscape and to concentrate on meeting with each nature admirer involved in the process. 4 participants become my guides to Aomori and its surroundings. My first impression about the difficulty is that arriving somewhere takes time and it is much more slower when it happens only via the internet. Another frustrating aspect is that online communication does not carry different smells and tastes, touch, laughing, emotions, or energy. The possibility I have discovered for myself is paradoxical. I wanted to find words, images, sounds for these missing elements. I experienced their reparatory and regenerative forces in shortening huge social distance shaped during the pandemic.
大阪で画家として活動しています野原まりえです。よろしくお願いします。私は昨年の9月から12月に国際芸術センター青森 ACAC のレジデンスプログラムに参加しました。私は何年も前から ACAC のギャラリーで展示したいなっていう思いがあったので、今年は自分のタイミングもよくって応募しようかなというふうに思いました。参加したプログラムの中では3ヶ月間現地に滞在してリサーチから制作と展示まで終えました。内容に関しては簡単に言うと青森県内で、海岸沿いで石を集めて、そこからドローイングと立体絵画を制作するといったような内容です。コロナ禍っていうこともあったんですけれども、私は不自由なく3ヶ月間滞在させてもらって 学芸員の皆さんや青森県内の方々に車でいろいろ連れて行っていただいたりとかしまして、そこまでコロナの影響は大きくなく普段、例年通りのリサーチの仕方っていう方法が可能になったかなというふうに思っています。で、でもその滞在した作家が日本人作家3名だけだったっていうこともありまして、海外の作家の皆さんとはオンラインで交流させてもらうっていう方法になったっていうのは、少し難しかった点というか残念だったなというふうな思いもあります。レジデンスっていうとやっぱり一緒に生活したりご飯作ったりとか、たわいもない話したりとか、どういうふうなルーティンで生きているかとか、制作の面でいうと私は画材絵の具を使ったりとか道具をたくさん持って行って制作するタイプなので海外のその方々が絵を描くときにどういうふうにされているかっていうのをやっぱり手元で見て初めて分かるっていうことも多いと思うんです。でそういうことがやっぱり言葉のコミュニケーションで、しかも英語でっていうちょっと難しい部分もあってなんか言葉にできないようなそういうことを生活したり制作したりする中でレジデンスの中では得ていくっていうことがあると思うんですけども、やっぱりそれはオンラインではちょっと叶いづらいかなっていうふうに今も思っています。なんですが、いいなと思った点では例えば初めて行く国とかで生活する場合になかなかただ生きていくっていうだけで大変だなって思うことってたくさんあると思うんですけれども、事前に例えば Zoom とか使ってその施設の方とコミュニケーションを取ったり、図書館とか行く前にいろんな資料をもらったりとかしながら自分の国で生活しながらリサーチを徐々に進めていくっていうようなことがオンラインでは可能だろうなっていうふうには思いまして、それは今後の移動制限がある中でプログラムに参加するっていう点では初めて行く国でそういうふうな方法を取るっていうのはすごく効果的でいいことなのかなっていうふうに思いました。私は、全体的に現地で滞在できたので他の海外の作家さんたちの振る舞いを見ながら、今後自分が外国でレジデンスするならっていうのを想像しながら青森では過ごさせてもらいました。私の内容はそんな感じになります。ありがとうございます。
Hello, this is Mengdu. I am an independent artist currently based in Beijing, China, and I was very honored to work with Seto International Ceramic and Glass Art Exchange Program in Seto, Japan. I think there is no doubt that our life has been hugely impacted with the epidemic. I was staying at home for a long time during the lockdown, and I was very emotional and I was very devastated when I hear the sad news pretty much all day long in the first few weeks. So at that point, I was thinking, being an artist, well, what I could do. I couldn't be at the front line saving lives. Then being an artist, what we can do to comfort people and to make our lives a little bit better. To be honest, I felt I was really tiny because I just felt I was so useless to do anything. But then I started to get involved in participated in several international web seminars. We share about our lives, our creation, and our daily routines in this new post-epidemic era. And I just found out that all the artists, curators, and educators, everyone was working so hard to make our world better, and that gave me hope, and it made me want to be more involved in this international artist in residence program, no matter it's online or offline, because there's no boundary for us to stop. Like, there's no boundary for us to stop working and sharing. So that's why I applied for the Seto International Air program here in Japan. And I found I was so lucky that I could share my experience working at home, and also my artwork was related to my apartment, which I've been living for over 20 years. So it's very unique and precious memory and experience to me. My idea for the residence program is all based on the apartment that I've been living for 20 years, because most of my works are based on a narrative motive. And so I work with found objects a lot. That's why my research part wasn't too difficult for me, because I just went back to my apartment looking for the found objects, and also did some research and reading. That's most of my research part. But for the making part, it was pretty dramatic, because Beijing, in the middle of making process, Beijing was hit by another wave of COVID-19. So the studio area was closed temporarily, and I couldn't be there by myself. And so we have to, me and the staff in the studio, we have to communicate through video calls. And the process of taking the molds out of the kilns and cold working, and so all these processes were done by video calls, and I have to constantly communicate with the staff over there in the studio, and making sure that he ran the right spot or cut the right spot. That was a little difficult for us, but I was really happy that everything was resolved perfectly. So it was a little tricky, but not really. And yeah, so I'm very glad that everything works out. I think the online artist in residence program will definitely push the artist to think further of how could they continue making their works without certain equipment. Because as a glass artist, we all know that we need to rely on certain facilities to complete certain technique of making. But then during this very special circumstances, we couldn't travel. We couldn't even go to another area of the city to the studio. Then how could we continue our making at home? And I think that I really learned so much from this this working experience, because I started to notice that I can do so much from just working two-dimensional work, working at home with sheet glass or with engraving with very simple technique. I can still make a lot more than what I used to be familiar with. So I think it looks like a limitation for myself, but then on the other hand, I think that there are so many it definitely benefits me from making the works deeper and further. At the very last, I just wanted to say thank you to all the artists in resident programs, because of your support, the artists, especially the young artists and the emerging artists, could continue their making. And because of the program, it makes us realize there is a community back there to support us, and I think that's very, very significant to us all. So thank you so much, and hope to see you, and hope we can travel again.
Hello, I'm Alfie Radini. I'm an Indonesian artist. I was involved in Artist in Residency program in Koganecho Bazaar 2020, which was organized by Koganecho Area Management Center in Yokohama. I applied the Artist in Residency program in Koganecho Bazaar in March 2020 when the pandemic was just started to hit my country. In that time, I thought if my proposal being accepted and the program will be running in the middle of 2020, I was hoping that the situation will get better and also the international flight will be open again. Then I can go to Japan to attend the program. But unfortunately, the situation was getting worse and all the program must be done online. So I think the situation was challenged me to make new approach in my artistic practice. In the beginning, I was thinking to do the research about sculpture, public space, and communities in Japan, especially in Koganecho and Yokohama. But due to the regulation, the international flight was being closed, and it makes the research more difficult to be done. So in that time, I was looking other possibilities about what actually I can do in my city, Bandung, Indonesia. By doing so, I found an interesting idea. So I decided to make a new proposal with this similar concept as I thought in the beginning, still about the sculpture, public space, and communities. But what makes it different is that I will do the research in Bandung. So I tried to make the connection between the Indonesian and Japanese culture. Then I figure out how the Japanese culture affects the life of people in my city, especially the people in my generation. I made a woman life-sized sculpture which was wearing the cosplay or costume play. She was wearing the costume of Sailor Moon, an iconic Japanese anime or manga character which really famous in Indonesia around 90s. Therefore, the woman is wearing a costume with a Muslim style, which covered all parts of the body, including hijab or headscarf. And the idea came from the Muslim cosplay community in my city. In the beginning, I was thinking that the sculpture which I made in Indonesia will be shipping to Japan and also being exhibited in the public area in Japan too. So the people there can respond to the work directly. But after the consideration of time and cost and also the situation of pandemic, it's harder to execute the plan. I discussed this issue with the curator, Junya Usumi, at that time, and we agreed to exhibit the sculpture in the public area in Bandung. So the people in Bandung can respond to the work. And while the sculpture was being exhibited in public area, I recorded the moments in 4 different angles camera. Then in Koganecho Bazaar exhibition, the video was played and being projected in 4 sides of the cube in actual size as the sculpture. I think the idea of displaying the work in Koganecho Bazaar exhibition was pretty interesting, and it became the alternate way to show the sculpture in the time of pandemic. The pandemic forced the artists to think harder to still make works in such a difficult time. And the things that have been mentioned is the innovation which I found in the process of making the works and also the technical view in it. Actually, my aim to get involved in every residency program is, of course, to know other culture deeply through the meeting with people, through learning new approach and living in the new environment. So somehow, in many ways, it makes me know myself more. The changes of the system during the pandemic makes me a little bit disappointed actually, but however, that's what should artists do, and to always find a way to keep making works in any situation and to create a new innovation to the work itself. So I would like to thank to Koganecho Bazaar 2020 and Koganecho Area Management Center for giving me the opportunity to have such a great experiences in my artistic practices in time of pandemic.
Hi, I'm Ralph. I'm a visual artist from the Philippines. As a visual artist, I do video works and sculptures, but also I'm very much involved in interdisciplinary projects, working with other art practitioners specifically in performance, and also collaborating with scientists, geographers, researchers, community workers. When I did my artist residency in Japan, I think it was quite unique for me because I was able to come here as an artist. I came here in February of 2020, just before the lockdown. And I came here because my wife actually studies here, doing her master's, and I was able to come with a dependent visa. I applied around February when I came here, but I got accepted maybe a few months after in Koganecho Bazaar 2020. And yeah, I think one of the motivations to do artist residencies here is that my practice is very much socially engaged. I also work with communities in the Philippines, so I'm very interested to do these types of projects where you can do workshops and collaborations with a community or other artists in an artist in residence setting. The program was actually postponed. I think it was supposed to be around June, but they postponed it to the end of the year. And because I was here, I was just waiting what will happen, because even when they postponed it, there was no assurance because of COVID. In the middle of the year, actually, I found another open call for an artist in residence in Paradise Air. And I was also lucky that it was in Matsudo City, and because me and my wife that time, we were living in Matsudo because that was where the dorm of her university is located. And then by the end of August, I came here in Koganecho. Actually, I'm now a long-term artist in residence here. So after my short-term artist in residency from August to November of 2020, I applied for the long-term artist in residence. So that's why I'm still here in Koganecho right now. So both of the artist residencies that I've been to last year, I was able to stay in the facilities of the organizations. What was unique with Paradise Air is that they had this call for artists and curators or other practitioners who live near, because it was during the state of emergency. They actually call it the Matsudo QOL award, or like quarantine of laureate, something like this. So it's specifically for, like, in a way, a quarantine artist in residence where movement is very much restricted. Actually, there's no requirement to produce a work, and it was just a short term, so it's like 3 weeks. But in the end, I collaborated with one of the artists in residence who was also there. For Koganecho Bazaar, actually there were, I think, maybe 6 or 7, around that number of international artists for that artist in residence program, but only I was the one who was an international artist who came here and did my project. Although the artists from Malaysia, Argentina, Indonesia, and so on, they did their exhibitions as well while doing it remotely. So some of them did videos and then sent them here. I think there were some who shipped their works from their country to here in Koganecho. At first, it was very difficult, I think, for everyone, not just because of the art practice and the work, but also just because of a lot of things happening in the world. But I think some of these limitations or restrictions can become possibilities for creativity. It's kind of like an opportunity to see another perspective or think about other ways of doing things. So one example is very much already talked about is how a lot of things, especially artist in residence or art projects, have digital elements or online elements. And even if, let's say, for example, we move on from the pandemic, I think some of these online works can still become very much part of the art practice now. And it's the same for me. So I've been doing video since before I came here, but I think I've learned more how to produce things and maybe watched more tutorials on YouTube and whatnot. So, and these are just examples. I'm sure a lot of opportunities and new possibilities were realized by artists and other people on how to connect and how to do their art. I think one big thing right now is crypto art, or selling their digital artworks through cryptocurrency. So I think there's been a lot of maybe improvements or changes in the art and creative industry in general. Generally, I think artist in residence programs are very helpful for artists to reflect on their art practice. It gives them time, resource, give new perspective on things and hopefully share it to in their home countries or other places as well. So it's a great opportunity for them to learn, and I think also opportunity for artists to work with communities. Maybe some of them are already doing it, or maybe some of them it's their first time to do it, and it could be different levels of engagement. It could be like just workshops, or up to like collaborating with different people and or different artists in that locality. And it's also, I think it will be very helpful for artists like me who maybe don't get a lot of their income from selling their works. And I believe if done right, and you coordinate deeply with the community, do proper research, artist in residence programs in one local area can be very good for the community. Yeah, so art is very helpful in bringing different and broaden the perspective of people. If you bring artists from different countries or different places, they bring in new ideas or new perspectives, and I think this gives people new ways of seeing things, which I think is very important in this world today. And aside from that, we just know that art can be good for the well-being of people. It can be very engaging and fun, or bring different emotions. So yeah, I think Artist in Residence program can be very good for artists and the communities that they work with.
Hello, we are from Cut and Rescue Artist Collective based in Jakarta. I'm Ipul. And I'm Acip. In last of January 2021, we are participated in a duo-front remote residency in Yamaguchi. Now we will answer Air Japan interview, so here is our opinion.
We want to feel new experience in residency when we are having an artist residence but not coming on presence in the residency place or city. We also want to push the boundary of working in distance only, meet virtually or by text.
Remote residency in duo-front give us the space to explore and research new project or artistic practice. We connect by the letter and postcard, not only in the internet. That such thing is bring us back to the golden time of sending letter by post or airmail. Of course, we had extra energy to run research by online during the lockdown. Because too much staring at the monitor also make my eyes easy to get tired. The material for research we bought from local online shop like Tokopedia or from Instagram account of local bookstore. It is very strange to make a physical work that will be presented as a virtual. Everything will look the same as a JPEG or PDF file. We have this awareness from the beginning, so we present the design only, not the screen printed one. Meanwhile, we will send the physical work to the front in Yamaguchi for their archive.
Basically, our artistic practice start from visiting specific place in the city that has a relation to the historical identity of its city, such as second-hand market, community place, traditional market, residential area, or record store. In this remote residency, we could only visit those places with Google Map and see uploaded with pictures of the place from online contributor. If there's any question, we ask someone in the front. That's how we respond to the new normal residency. I think as an artist, we must be able to respond to circumstance. Also with the time management while working at home, there must be change, especially in regulating more flexible working hour with different time zone.
Air program gave us new knowledge from many cities that we visit, also new network. The work or research that we've made will resonate not only to the city we had reside, but also to our hometown. We bring our local perspectives and merge with the situation at that time during residency. The network with residency hosts and other participants will lead us to wider possibilities in the future by keep contact and update with future project that we could offer for collaboration. Okay, that's all our answer for the interview. Thanks for inviting us for this remote residency, and see you.
See you.
Okay. Hello everyone, good night. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Dholy Husada. Now I'm living in Yogyakarta, and also I one of a member of LifePath. LifePath is non-profit organization that concern on art, science, and technology. In this occasion, I become artist resident invited by a duo front organization, based on Yamaguchi Prefecture, Japan. The project, we call it Returning to Our Backyard. And this program is Air Program 2020, and then and also we call it Remote Residency. This event actually initiated or organized by the Front, the organization based in Yamaguchi, Japan. And then Remote Residency or Air Program 2020 is like is a response to the current situation when human movement is limited because of by COVID-19 virus pandemic. And then remote residency was held in Yogyakarta, Indonesia, and the duration of this project is almost 1 month. It's starting from January 25th until February 25th. And then an activity my activity, because of I make a garden, and then the activity is garden designing, land management, garden installation, offline and online platform, and then I use IG Live to share what already did in the garden, and also we make a lot of workshop discussion, and then the workshop include we make workshop like foraging workshop, and then repair tool garden workshop, and then live cooking workshop, and then podcast and discussion. Now we talk about the concept. Why I use the terminology of the returning to our backyard. Actually, because of people or humankind before the pandemic, it's like they forget the backyard, or they forget something nearby them, but it's kind of like they forget it because of they always thinking move forward. So that's why I make I use term return to our backyard, kind of like to rethinking again about something in backyard actually. And then the returning to our backyard is like is a medium to identify more intimate to the backyard or back room of backyard of the old house which has been neglected, and then the space become untouched, neglected by its inhabitants. And also the returning to our backyard is medium to recognize the essential of the water, soil, and fire organism, and then natural pattern of natural, and also this place also for the to play, study, and collaborate with other people who have interesting in the managing of the garden, and also and I hope this program kind of like to make a communal garden, and then the garden location is located in the house of house and kunci office. Kunci office, a kunci study forum and collective in Yogyakarta. Kunci is very strategic place to realize this idea because of this place is lot of people came discuss and anything there. So for me, it's really good place to share our idea, to share our knowledge, to share about practical in the garden and action. So of course I will worries and also afraid in the pandemic situation. Because of my effort, activity in the garden, and also make a lot of workshop discussing. It's kind of like there is many difficulties to make that event. So that's why we use online platform to share to our to share our event to the idea. As you know, because of uh, in garden practical, it should be okay. It should be appropriate when the audience came and then see directly what we did, not only see on the online on the virtual. Yeah, as long remote residency duration, I feel success, but even though not 100, not 100 successful. Uh, I think our activity it should be appropriate. It will be okay when the audience should become directly to interaction with other without movement limitation. Because of the situation like that, the current situation like that, to uh, force us to stay at home, and then also force us to social distancing. So we use online platform, and also actually we actually also make a event, but we just only invite not much people there, not much people to come to our activity, because of also when during the event Yogyakarta use local lockdown policy. I think enough, and for me, thank you for to upfront. They already invite me, so thank you, and me Dholy.
今回は、山口市にある、アーティストインレジデンスのドアフロントにのリモートレジデンス2021に参加しました。今回移動しない、レジデンスに参加した理由としては、そもそも山口市の地質的な特徴に興味があったことと、山口すでに、リモートといいますか、インターネットの方で山口市のことについていろいろリサーチをしていったことから、そういったものを検証するっていう意味でも、現地に行って、制作をする、実際現地に行って制作をこちらはしたんですけどもそういったリサーチを実際に行うという理由で、山口市のレジデンスを応募しました。今回は、インドネシアの、ライフパッチと、カット&レスキューが、リモートで参加して、共同の、最終的に展示を一緒にするっていうことだったんですけども、実際コミュニケーションの方は、インターネットの接続とかそういったものがいろいろ、日本でもインドネシアでも問題が何回か生じて難しいところがあったんですけど、そういったところを含めて何て言いますか、テクノロジー的な意味での不完全さとか不確実性みたいなものと向き合う、そういった機会になりました。またそういった不意の出来事、不意のうまくいかなさだったり、そういったものが制作にも関係してくるっていうのが身に染みて感じる。またそういった機会を利用して制作が行えるという意味では結構挑戦ができる、挑戦のしがいがありましたし、僕のテーマにかなり合っていたと思います。実際に制作したものによってかなり影響されると思うんですけど、作品の制作の中でおいて、突然の停電だったりとか、寒波が来たりとか、あとは、偶然にも山口市にある秋吉台の山焼きに遭遇というか、そういったものを見れたりとかしたことが、それがもうかなり運よくであったり、あるいは運悪くであったり、そういった偶然的な出来事を積み重ねることで作品ができてきましたので、まだまだそういうここからまだそこの制作物から発見できていない偶然的な一致だったり、今後起こる出来事に何かこれから一致したりとか、そういった影響があるんじゃないかなと思いました。実際だからまだ今映像制作で編集まではしたんですけど、まだ不確実な要素がまだ自分でも分かってない部分で編集を行っている、そういった感覚がまだありますので、かなり今後1年はこの制作が影響を及ぼすんじゃないかなと思っています。かなり今回メッセージといいますか、予想していたことでもあったんですけど、やっぱレジデンス間でのコミュニケーションがやっぱもともといろいろネットワークがあるっていうのがすごい心強いとは思っていて、こちらも一度レジデンスプログラムを自分で応募したものが一回延期になっているという、延期になり続けている、そのコロナの影響で延期になり続けているっていう、経緯もちょっとありますので、そういった意味で個々のレジデンスの人たちがいろいろコミュニケーションをとってこっちなら対応できるとか、こういうこっちの人なら受け入れてくれるんじゃないかみたいな、そういった情報だけでもいいので、実際にうまくいくかどうかは分からないんですけど、そういった機会を情報を、与えてくれるというもらえるすごい良い機会ですし、そこのネットワークはもっと強いものになっていってほしいなと思いました。
私の場合は、山形県の肘折温泉というところに滞在して、制作途中のドキュメンタリーを、持って行ってそこで、作品の制作を、さらに深めるっていうような作業を行いました。山形県自体が山形国際ドキュメンタリー映画祭が行われている県で、ドキュメンタリー制作者にとってはある種聖地のような場所でもありますし、肘折っていう場所がもうとても雪深くて、そういう雪深い、温泉湯治場で30日間日常の雑務から離れて作品の制作に没頭できるっていうことがとても、魅力的でしたし、オンラインではありますけれども他の制作を行っている、タイ人やインドネシア人の、制作者たち、それから日本人の制作者たち、それからメンターの先生たちとつながって、作品について意見を交換しながら、制作について深めていけるっていうのは本当にありがたい経験だなというふうに思いましたので、応募を決めました。で、ワークショップが、滞在期間中にあったんですけれども、オンラインで行われたんですが、その集中力とか、体力が続くように1時間ごとに休憩も入ってました。で、なので逆に対面でやるよりもある種集中してやれたような気もしますし、Zoom を使ってたんですけれどもチャット欄があって、そのチャット欄で、リファレンスの映像とかリンクをすぐにお互いに飛ばすことができるので、情報の共有がすごく早いなっていう感じがして、とてもそれは便利でした。ただ一方でその無言の時間をどうやって共有するかっていうことがすごい難しかった気がして、自分自身は難しくて、何か質問された時に無言で考えを巡らせるっていうことが対面ではないと、向こう側で人が待ってるっていう、画面の向こうで人が待ってるような気がして、それが自分でできないなというふうに感じました。で、ワークショップ以外の休憩の時間に本来であれば、ちょっとした話ができたりとか、他の参加者の人やメンターの先生方とできたりとか、そういう交流を深める時間があると思うんですけれども、それができない分、朝のモーニングコーヒーの時間を一緒に過ごしましょうということで、WhatsApp っていう、アプリを使ってみんなでつながりました。で Zoom よりもちょっと親近感があるというか、友達同士の会話みたいな感じになったりとかして、で、場所は離れて、空間は離れてるんですけども、みんなが外から中継してる日とかもあったりとかして、で空間は離れてるけども気持ちが一つだなっていうようなのを感じる日もあって、それがすごく面白かったです。で、作品の発表はオフラインでも行いまして、山形市で一般の方々に向けて、自身の制作途中の、ラフカットの映像を見ていただく機会があったんですけれども、で上映会場の自分は一番後ろにいたんですけれども、皆さんの、見てくださっている方々の背中が見えている状態で、どういう気持ちで見てらっしゃるかっていうのがすごく手に取るように分かる気がしたんですね。すごく今ちょっと集中力が切れたなとか、前のめりになって見てくださってるなとか、退屈されてるなとか、その体が出してるサインみたいなものにすごく敏感になった気がして、それがずっとオンラインでやってたものがオフラインになったので、より敏感になってるのかなというふうに思ったりもして、それも面白かったです。それと今後この経験がどうなのかっていうことなんですけど、プログラムの期間は過ぎたんですけれども、制作自体はまだ行ってますので、まだ終わった気がしていなくてですね。で、共に参加したインドネシア人とかタイ人の、制作者たち、それからメンターの先生方で、肘折の村で応援してくださった方とか、オーガナイザーもちろんのことを、そうですね、それから上映会場に来てくださった方々っていうのが、自分にとっての作品を完成させるための強いモチベーションになっているので、それはすごくありがたいなっていうふうに思ってますし、それからこのコロナの 時期にこういうフィジカルな交流がすごく難しい時にこういうプログラムを行っていただけることで自分の作品制作が社会とのつながりが持ってるっていうか、社会にとってどういう意味があるのかっていうことを考えたりとか確認できたりする機会になるので、すごくありがたいなというふうに思います。とても重要な機会だったなというふうに感じました。